evening and welcome to the February 2025 edition of Your Questions Answered. I'm Michael, KB9VBR.
And I'm Joe, KD9CGX. We were just talking about the 80s and that lovely intro there. And we were deciding, which Doctor Who do you like better? Michael is the fan of the PBS 1970s and 80s version of Doctor Who.
Yeah,
so if that lessens or greatens your view of him, remember that.
Yeah, pre-show we got into a little Doctor Who discussion, and I don't like the new stuff at all. It's old school Doc for me.
You gotta have the weird clothes and
the weird clothes. Yeah, Tom Baker, Peter Davidson, Sylvester McCoy. The John Pertwee, the classics.
The classics. You have to be familiar with the classics. No, we are not at Hamcation. We don't do Florida.
No. Hamcation, this is the I'm not at Hamcation show, but in my basement.
Where it's Hamcation in my basement.
We could be sunning ourselves 78 degrees in Orlando, but no.
It probably rain every damn day.
We are here in Wisconsin, and the airport recorded a 52-mile-an-hour peak wind gust this afternoon.
Yeah, right around 1:30, I bet.
Yep.
Yeah, I was at home. I was like in my bedroom, and I looked at the pine trees on the north side of the house, and I got a little worried. They were blowing. One pine tree just went, and it was sustained. It blew like that for a good minute or two, and I'm like, "Oh crap!"
It was bad. I went out. I had to go to Menards and the Home Depot, and oh man, it was just crazy.
Yeah, brutal. It was brutal. So
yeah.
Anyways, the wind is going to die down tonight, but then Saturday, 4 to 6 inches of snow.
4 to 6 inches of snow. So
they may be able to open up the snowmobile trails around here.
They're talking about it. Yeah, that's up north. They've been able to, but we got almost 4 inches on Monday, and so if we get another 4 to 5 inches, the trails will be open.
Yeah, and it might be it's going to be cold again next week, so that that trough or whatever that is shifting the jet stream. So we'll see. At least it'll stay if it gets cold next week.
Well, the end of next week, Valentine's weekend, we were going to go down to Milwaukee. It might be a chilly weekend down there.
Yeah, well, it's always a chilly with you and your wife.
No. Hey,
I've got me another J-Paul, Michael.
Hey, let's welcome some people that are filing into the chat here. Jeff, KD9ZSL. And Russ, hello from 8land.
Hello, Russ.
Jerry and Mark. Mark lives down in the MKE land. So, like I said, we're going to be next weekend. We're going to head down there for a midwinter getaway. Snowy Maine. You probably got more snow in Maine than we do here in Wisconsin. It's just been a dry winter.
Yeah. When Houston got hit 3 or 4 weeks ago, a friend of mine who lived down there sends me a picture. They had 10 inches of snow on the ground. I sent him a picture of 0 inches of snow on the ground. We'll figure that out. Nice to see you.
Yeah. So Virginia and everybody's coming in here. Louisiana, where it's probably a lot warmer than it is up here.
Can't be colder, that's for sure.
No, that's for sure. Well, if you've got ham radio related questions, throw them into the chat this evening. We'll try to get to as many of them as we can. We do have a couple of things we're going to be talking about, including back by popular demand, another segment of Hamsexy. So look forward to that in about an hour. We'll fire up some Hamsexy tonight.
Our whole research team worked on it this time.
It did. We've got a crack crew that just scours the internet.
Yeah, and they're not doing that. They stopped over at USAID. Apparently they got a bunch of stuff over there.
Yeah.
I probably should stop right there.
Well, we probably. Oh Well, Mark had 10 inches in New Orleans 2 weeks ago, but 80
Yeah.
today. They had that big,
Yeah.
they had that big blizzard that went through the Panhandle and the lower, Alabama, Louisiana. So
Yeah, like I said, my friend in Houston had like almost a foot of snow. Like, how the hell would that happen?
that crazy, absolutely. And we've been high and dry. So
Right.
at least we got some snow here. But well, we got a question that came in already.
Read that. I'm trying to read that. I'm squinting. So, side note, I got my eyes checked last week. Why? They said, "You, sir, are a great candidate for progressives." I'm like, "What's that?" Yeah, they're like, "Well, they used to call them bifocals, but now they don't have the line."
They're
really?
They're those really cool glasses you get when you get to be about the age you have just turned.
Yeah, I did turn 45 last month, so I'm done.
And I think I got my.
Call the nursing home right now. Send me out to
bed. I think I got my first bifocals about that age, maybe 44. I don't know, around that time.
Yeah. So next couple of days, new set of glasses right here.
And there we go.
Maybe I can read LA7YKA Norway's question.
Norway, yes. Hi all. We have a 50 ohm match on the antenna. The reactive element is 0 ohms in some. So the resonance of the antenna should be 0 ohms, not 50. Where is the 50 ohms come from in the antenna? So that is a good question.
Okay. Well, thank you for asking.
Yes.
Your 50 ohms is going to be the resistive component of the impedance. So it says 50 ohms impedance, but it's purely resistive load. There is no reactive element in it. Okay.
Which is the 0 ohm, yes.
Right. So we don't want to look at Z equals R plus J. You have to think of it as Pythagorean's theorem. On the horizontal axis is resistance. On the vertical axis is your reactance. If reactance is 0 and you have 50 ohms on the resistive scale, then you're at resonance. Now, you can be at resonance and not be at 50 ohms. You can be a resonant at 20 ohms or 5,000 ohms.
It depends on the style of antenna.
Right. Reactance is what determines resonance. If there is no reactance, or if your inductive reactance and your capacitive reactance cancel each other out, then you have a purely resistive load. That means 100% of the power transmitted is being radiated. You can have an impedance mismatch, and we can do things with that all day long. That's why we have antenna tuners, we have balance, and things of that nature.
Yep.
Okay. But you also have to remember, you are putting a AC signal into it when you are transmitting. You're not putting a DC signal in. So if you take a voltmeter and try to get 50 ohms, you will not do that, because that's all. When you do DC, it's or a ohm test, it's only providing a DC signal. You have to have a resonating, alternating current in there in order to get in a true impedance. All right. Now you are going to be at 50 ohms at that frequency. So let's pick a frequency of 14,250. Nice.
There we go.
Nice round number.
Nice easy frequency.
Right. But as you increase or decrease your frequency in that band, your impedance will change. It may not change much, or it may change a lot, depending on the Q of your antenna. If you're on a higher band, say 10 meters or 2 meters, you can operate all day long all across the band and not have to retune an antenna. 40 meters, 60, 80, 160, your Q is a lot higher. Therefore, as you change frequency, your impedance will change dramatically.
There we go.
I could talk about that one all day long.
Thank you, Joe, the master electrician, because...
Well, yeah, I mean, but electricity, AC theory, and talking about resonant antennas, you're talking about the two same thing. There's no difference between variable frequency drive and an antenna. They all work the same, just different frequencies. There's problems with drives with reflected power. Because guess what? What do you think the output of a variable frequency drive uses? Transistors. What do our radios use for output? Transistors. What do they both have a problem with? Reflected power.
Yep.
So only when we're using like a 480 volt, 75 horse drive, there's a lot of reflected power coming back. Holy crap, there's a lot of power that can come back. It's a little scary when weird things start to happen. You're going through that power band. You're going from 0 hertz to 60 hertz. It's not from a radio perspective, that's a very small change, but in a motor perspective, that's a big change.
That's a lot there. Yeah.
All right, end rant, but there we go.
And as Mike says, math this early. Yeah, we just
I
went
have not
in.
had enough rum to start doing that.
Full bore.
Right.
So you got it right. So
yeah, Flatlander pretty much put it perfectly. He had me at 50 ohms.
He had me at 50 ohms.
That's the Valentine's edition of my phone. He had me at 50 ohms.
Oh, geez. Hey, Kurt here. He was just gifted a working 10-tech Corsair 2.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like someone just dropped off a little MG at your house there. Here
Well,
you go. You have fun at it.
Let's see what this thing looks like.
Yeah.
Because, let's see. There we go.
Oh,
nice.
There we go.
Nice. That is a sweet radio.
Oh yeah! Holy smokes! Look at that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, Kurt, you're a lucky guy. Then it's all working and running, and I love 10-techs. A friend of mine, when I first got licensed, a guy in the club had an Omni. I think it was an Omni 4. And I went over to his house we worked the Wisconsin QSO Party, and he put me on that Omni 4, and that was a sweet rig. So
yeah, 10-tech used to make great radios. It's too bad they're not around anymore.
Yeah, US made too, which is
next
really
to
cool.
impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pulling up the PDF of the service manual here. Like, oh my God, this had to be early 80s.
I'm trying to figure. Let's see, they usually have a date on here. 85, manufactured 85 to 80 something. So mid to late 80s.
Corsair 2 is a medium power transceiver employing the latest techniques in solid state technology. Digital frequency readout, which inherently contains a crystal oscillator for accuracy. I'm just seeing what the power output is on it.
It was 100 watts.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
10-tech was known a lot for their QRP radios. If you were a brass pounder, and we'll talk about pounding brass later tonight, 10-tech was the way to go.
The Argonaut was their big, one of their big QRP or low power. I think the Argonaut went that had snap-in band packs, and I think it put out like 20 watts.
Okay, yeah. Well, basically the G90 of its day.
Yeah.
Pretty
much.
And this one they say, but this one has drive gain. Well, I guess it doesn't have tube finals. It doesn't look like, does it? It says all transistor solid state, so it can't have tubes.
Yeah. Would that be like our RF gain maybe, or drive? Drive would be like our output.
I guess so.
The specs are kind of.
Yeah, so it looks like it's a solid state.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
Yeah. Again, get some pictures of that and send it our way. That's a neat one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been probably 8 or 10 years since 10-tech went out. I think went out of business.
Yeah, they it was in the mid-teens. They closed up shop, but then I thought somebody bought them. And then it was going to reopen, and then I think COVID came, and then they disappeared again, and I don't know if it's somebody owns the name or what's going to happen to it. But yeah, they're pretty much, yeah, it's no more, unfortunately.
Yeah, everything I see here on their website is from like before 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's too bad.
85 seems like a couple years ago, but dang it, that was 40
Yeah.
years ago.
Yeah, tell that to Chicago Bears fans. Oh,
Ah!
I guess we shouldn't say that. Virginia McCaskey died today.
Remember that song "Stacy's Mom" or
Oh
that
God, yeah.
came out a few years ago? With that, I heard I read a month or so ago that if that was released today, they'd be singing about the like 2004 or something like that. So,
Oh no, Stacey's mom's got
oh,
to be
not
earlier
Stacy's
than
mom.
that.
No, what's oh no, what's the song then that I'm thinking of?
I don't know.
Oh well, okay. It'll come to me halfway through the show. So.
Flatlander's a little upset because I've already put some shots across his bow there. Sorry about that. When you go up to Wisconsin, you say go pack go, or you go pack your bags and go home.
Go pack your bags and go homes. According to Sean, the QRP article, Tentec is a new owner with a long-term vision.
When was that? When was that article from?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can find that. You are Pierre Tentec. I'd have to read.
I hate it when I gotta read it. It's as bad as doing math.
This article, okay. Now we gotta see if I can pull the screen back up again. So yes, there is an article. Tentec has a new owner with a long-term vision. It's dated December 2015. Unfortunately.
Now, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's one of those things that you really want to see them succeed because there are no American trends, well, except for Elecraft. There are no American radio companies anymore.
Flex,
yeah.
Flex and Elecraft.
Yeah, but both of them, you got to be, flush in cash, or not afraid to use a credit card.
Yep.
And I am not either of those, but
yeah. It's from 2015, so a long vision.
Yeah. Speaking of vision, I need glasses.
Yeah, they're playing the long game here, I guess.
Yeah. Long game.
1985 was the song. Yes, and that came out in 2005. So if it came out today, it would have been.
Yeah,
we'd be singing about 2004.
Yeah,
2005. So
that's yeah. I don't even want to think about that. Getting old.
Tell me about it.
Yeah. Well, was just last week we had the 39th anniversary of the Challenger disaster.
I saw that.
39
years.
Right? Because I remember that. I remember it was a snow day. And
you were going to school down in Montello. We had school.
Yeah, no, it was a snow day. And we went over to the neighbor's house, and I remember seeing it on the TV over there. Like, God, I still to this day, anytime there's something that comes up about the shuttle on YouTube, I gotta sit down and watch it. Right? What else is there?
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, see, now the song is kind of Bowling for Soup. That's who I was thinking about. So
okay, yeah, I don't think I remember that one too much. That was a little past my time.
Yeah. Well, no, that song came out about 20 years ago.
Shut up. Stop. It hurts. It hurts to think about that. Mr. Quarter Century Wireless Club member.
That's right. So
Yeah. Pretty soon on the back of that little red wagon of yours will be an AARP sticker.
they sent us another piece of mail yesterday. So
You might as well sign up, at least get the discount.
yeah, that's what I usually say. So
Cheap pancakes.
yeah, Mike has got a question. Well, throw it into the chat and
Yep.
we'll see what we can do. So we try to do it. I saw another one here, magic carpet related. So this is a good one.
Okay.
I know you've got good luck with both the magic carpet and the elevated radios. Would elevating a magic carpet off the ground like the elevated radios be good or bad? I probably would be bad, and the reason why the magic carpet works so well laying on the ground is it's got this beautiful big surface area that's capacitively coupling to the ground, but dimension wise it's not really resonant with anything. So if we were to elevate it, all of a sudden elevated radials are decoupled from the ground itself.
Yeah.
So in order for them to do anything, they need to be resonant. So if we've got a quarter wave vertical radiator, we're going to need quarter wave ground radials, and we're not going to have that with a magic carpet Faraday cloth suspended above the ground.
So someone sent me a question similar to this the past couple of weeks, and they said, if I had a 48-inch wide by 20-foot long magic carpet, would it be directional? Okay, and I said, probably not. You might get a little bit of directionality out of it, but the reason for the magic carpet is it's just simple to set up, right? Roll it out, put an antenna on it, maybe put a jumper on it for kicks and giggles. It's super simple and it works. It's not the greatest ground plane out there by any means, but it'll take like a 17-foot whip and do wonders.
Yeah.
10 through 40, no problem. If you want directionality, if you want even more efficiency, remember, guys, that resonance does not necessarily mean efficient. Going back to our previous question, then the elevated radials give you that, but they give you gain in one direction or another. That's kind of a trade-off. So a vertical antenna, which should be omnidirectional, you get some gain when you start elevating those radials, one or two radials, like the Poda Performer, the stick, the buddy pole vertical that I used to have. All of those with those elevated counterpoise or radio. It's different, but they work. So there's no wrong way to do it now. But I think if you were to actually elevate that, first of all, I don't know how you would do it without, I don't know, maybe some sawhorses and then two sawhorses in the middle with, you'd have to have something under it solid.
Yeah.
I mean, then you're just defeating the whole purpose of the magic carpet.
Yep.
At that point, you just do the elevated radials.
Yeah. So I'm going to pull something up here because, of course, the whole ground screen magic carpet thing, the impetus to that, it was from an article by Robert Sherwood of Sherwood Engineering.
Yes.
And I just got to, so if we're going to scroll down here to the bottom of his site, he's got posted other tips and white papers. Ground screen, alternative to a buried radio system, complete issue. This is a copy of the May 1977 issue of Ham Radio Magazine. And yeah, right there, Ham Radio, May 77. So this is not a new concept. They were doing this 50 years ago or more. Dave came up with the idea. I did some research. We came up with this article. But in the point being with and it's really good. It's really good. You should read it if you're really interested in more about how this whole ground screen thing works. Read it. But he goes in here and he talks about, I don't know if I can find the exact phrase, the exact paragraph or not, because it's been a while since I've read it last. But he talks about directivity, and to be direct, to have any level of directivity with the ground screen or the magic carpet, you're going to have to approach lengths of at least a quarter wave in size on the ground of the Faraday cloth or the window screen in order to get that kind of effect. So you don't have to plop your antenna down in the middle of the cloth. You don't have to crisscross it. You don't have to do all of this kind of crazy stuff. You can put the antenna on top of the cloth. You can put it next to the cloth. You can make the cloth go this way, or you can make it go that way. It really don't make a difference, because you're not going to be directive until that length of cloth is a quarter wavelength or more. So.
Right, and at 20 meters, that's going to be at least 16 feet.
No, yeah, 16, yeah.
32 is a quarter wave on 40.
Mm-hmm.
So 16 is going to be a quarter wave on 20.
Yeah.
So the guy asked me 48 by 20. Then you would start to get some directionality to it.
A little bit.
Yeah,
and I mean,
that's kind of where it's at. So
yeah.
Again, if you're going to elevate that, then why? Because now you're just making it difficult.
Yeah.
I think. And if you're going to have something elevated, just use elevated radios like the Poda Performer.
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly. On a side note, how is the roof of a car a good ground plane? I think, the vehicles make excellent ground planes for HF antennas. We've bonded whips, the ground side of the whip to the frame of the vehicle with excellent results. 2 weeks ago for Winter Field Day, Dave modified his 4310 meter end-fed half wave so that he decoupled the transformer so that the wire was a quarter wave on the 80 meter band, and he used his vehicle as the ground
right.
And he had excellent results on 40 on 80 and actually 160 meters. So
right. So you can use a car as a ground plane. You're gonna probably want to do something. Well, first of all, you don't want to have it running. You'll have too much noise from the ECU, ABS, all that other stuff creates terrible hash. You got to turn it off. If you do have it running, then there's a lot more bonding and stuff that you got to do, and it's just a pain and you know what.
Yep.
So, yeah. But, people run mobile all the time too. So, but we always use for 2 meters. We always use a roof as a ground plane, right?
Yes, we do.
Mag mount 2 meter or 11 meter CB up there, and trim it down to 10 meters, and you get the same results.
Exactly. So, yep. No, that is true. So, all right, moving on. I saw a question here by Micah. He was asking if we do a question. This has got to do with repeaters. Do you have to have a CWID in order for a repeater to be able to be on the air? No, it doesn't have to be CWID, but it has to have identification.
Identification once every 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end, so
repeater IDs are once every 10 minutes, and then 10 minutes after the last transmission, basically, is how how most repeater controllers function.
So. Yeah. So if no one's using the repeater, 10 minutes after the last transmission, it'll ID, and then it'll basically just go quiet.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Now you may opt to have additional IDs like at the top of every hour.
Mm-hmm.
Or what some people do is that it'll transmit an ID, but it won't have a tone under it.
No.
So if you are running tone squelch, you won't hear the ID.
That is correct.
It doesn't have to be CW. It can be voice.
Yep, it can be a voice ID, but it has to, CW or voice. CW is probably the most universal for repeater controllers. Back in the day, a lot of them didn't have the voice chips. I think now it's a pretty much a foregone conclusion that they're going to be they'll have a voice ID, but there'll always be a
Right.
CW ID backup. If you're not hearing the ID on the repeater, maybe turn the receive tone off so you can monitor and listen. Maybe it's transmitting its ID carrier access, so you're not hearing it.
Right.
That's what if you don't think it's IDing properly. I suppose there are some homebrew repeaters out there where people will physically speak the ID.
Right.
But that's a pretty rare situation.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be analog, right? Because we have other repeaters out there, D-Star, DMR, things of that nature, and they can transmit a digital ID.
Yeah.
Same thing with digimeters like APRS. They have to transmit an ID, and it's got to be the ID of the. So, like if me and Michael were using someone else's repeater, it wouldn't be our ID. It would be the ID of the
repeater trustee.
The repeater trustee.
The repeater owner. Yeah, the repeater owner.
Right. So, but yeah, that's a good question. You know, think about, but yeah. So if you do decide to put a repeater up, make sure that you do have a control that IDs once every 10 minutes and 10 minutes after the last transmission.
Yep. Exactly. So, and speaking of ID, we're at the bottom of the hour, and it's the time where we break for, I guess, ID or whatever you want to call it. But it's when we acknowledge our patrons, the very valuable people that help keep everything rolling. Grease those skids so that we can slide all the way down into oblivion or something.
7:30. Do you know where your Patreons are?
Well, we got a new batch, and I'd like to welcome the ones that had joined in January on our supporter level: Cliff Leith and Charlie, and then our friend level: Vincent Guarnieri, Chris LeBlanc, and Kirk Goins. Welcome and thanks for joining us. And then always, we have those that are members of our top level, our producer level, and I acknowledge those every month. Larry Lyle, W4PHO, Mark, Michael. This is going to be the Mark and Michael's page. Tim, Christopher, Kyle, Bill, Brian, Dave, Don, Joel, John, Josh, Ken, and Leonardo. Thanks for all of you for joining us, being a help, and most importantly, reaping the benefits of being a member. I think in the last 3 weeks, I uploaded almost 5 hours worth of content to the Patreon page. That was unedited, Parks on the Air activations unedited, field day or winter field day contacts, and Minnesota QSO Party contacts. An hour with myself, Joe, and Dave sitting around a dining room table drinking scotch.
No, you were drinking scotch.
I was drinking scotch.
No, you were drinking no, it wasn't scotch. It was
Jameson. It's scotch.
Jameson. Okay,
that's scotch. That's
Irish whiskey. Irish whiskey.
It's blended scotch.
Okay, whatever. You call it whatever.
Irish whiskey.
You feel like you weren't drunk.
And planning our bold strategy for the weekend or something. So.
Yeah. Did you also include the half an hour of backing up when we realized the septic was overflowing?
No, I did not record that.
What's that smell?
Oh, Michael, do you smell that? Yeah, that's the septic system.
You got to make a phone call, guys.
So that's the thing. And my weekly blog, I write up, a little bit behind the scenes of each video, and you can read that too, out on Patreon. So how do you become a member? Well, to support the mission to educate and inspire the amateur radio community, you go over to www.patreon.com/KB9VBR antennas. And with that, let's take a moment for a word from our sponsor. KB9 VBR antennas are simple, effective, and affordable VHF and UHF antennas for amateur radio, MURS, public safety, and GMRS. Made in the USA with quality parts. Get yours online at jpole-antenna.com.
Sean, WIO, or WIO0O. This is my Patreon mark. This is my other Patreon mark. I got to pull up Bob Newhart right there. Holy moly.
Well, you know what? Now, during the break, I just got a message that we've got a new Patreon that we're going to have to add to the screen. Oh. And that is Mike the Flatlander. So
Flatlander. Yeah, we'll thank you when you come up in October there, Flatlander.
No, why is this so? So thank you so much and welcome. And we'll
now he wants to see the unfortunate septic incident.
He wants to. You don't want to see that.
No, there wasn't much to see. It didn't quite back up, but we were in a situation where it's probably a good time that we left.
Yes.
If you didn't notice on the Winter Field Day video, it was not warm. But I mean, it was decent, but it had been cold that past week, but there was no snow. Mm-hmm. So let's put two and two together, folks. In Wisconsin, we all have septic systems if you're not in town. And if there's no snow, there's no insulating factor that stops the frost from going deeper and deeper to ground. Yes. A septic system's drain field is probably only about 4 feet down. Mm-hmm. And it was real cold that past week, so we're pretty sure the drain field probably froze.
And to illustrate how cold it was, that lake we were standing on when we put the antenna up, the mast had 22 inches of ice.
Yeah. So. Yeah, there's quite a bit of ice out there when we were out there. So
yeah, that was crazy. We'll talk about why don't we talk about Field Day? I think now's gonna be a good time to kind of talk about Winter Field Day and what all happened.
Yeah, so the bands weren't spectacular. Mm-hmm. They were decent. They held up.
They were good. They weren't the best. There was some solar activity. I think it's early Friday night into Saturday morning. But as Saturday rolled on, I think it kind of smoothed out a little bit.
Yeah. Saturday night, the lower bands weren't great.
They were noisy. They were very noisy.
Dave did great CW 160.
Yes.
But he was taking advantage of the fact there was a contest that weekend on CW 160. And you got to take advantage of that if the people are there. But 80 and 40, we didn't do a lot on.
No. I only got 4 phone contacts on 80. Dave got about 15 or so on CW contacts.
Right. So really, if you're going to do 40 at night, mm-hmm. you're going to be between 7,200 and 7,300. That between 71, 75, or below 7,200, there's a lot of nets. There's a lot of DX down there. You probably just want to stay away from that, right?
Yeah.
71, 75 is the cutoff for generals. And mm-hmm. generally speaking, no pun intended, you want to be in the general portion anytime you are in a contest.
You try to be, yeah.
And between 7,200 and 7,300, it was just a mess. There was so much in there. I couldn't find a good frequency to call on.
Well, you got the international broadcasters coming in too.
Yeah, I did hear a little ding dong, ding dong. Hello, Vietnam. So 7220 is usually when that comes in at night. Mm-hmm. There's a couple other ones up there too, and it was just a mess. So not great on 40 at all. 80 is always hit and miss. Excuse me.
20 was crowded. Yep.
Yes. So the other thing that we kind of ran into was interference.
Yes. Between
each other. I noticed it when Dave was pounding brass. Mm-hmm. It would really just wipe things out. I think when you or Dave were running sideband, I didn't have a problem. So we were postulating on that. Definitely need to have some chokes.
Yep.
And 1-to-1 balance. Was it a 1-to-1 voltage or a 1-to-1 current balance that Dave said?
Well, if it's the ferrites in line, that's a voltage balun.
Okay.
So, and that's sufficient for common mode currents.
Yeah.
You can if you got the 1-to-1 that's wound along the core, that's a current balun. That works too. But I don't know, the voltage balun is good. And you talk about the interference. So Dave, yeah, like I said, Dave postulated that. What happens if we put chokes on both sides, on the antenna side and on the transmitter side? Will that cut the interference? So
I think it cuts the interference, but if you put a choke too close to the feed point of antenna, then you're no longer using the antenna coax as part of a counterpoise.
Well,
they have an effect in some antennas.
It will have an effect in some antennas. I was, if that's not like what I did with my antenna for winter field day, is I ran about 25 feet of coax, put the choke in, and then 50 feet into the house, and that eliminated a lot of noise. Because we were getting some interference, and adding that isolator. But now for the Minnesota QSO Party, since Dave and I were sitting in that truck together, we had a second set of chokes right at the feed point, right at the transmitter point, and the remaining coax will still induce signal from the other transmitter. So that second set of coax or chokes on that coax helped. I think that almost eliminated our noise, just almost down to nothing. So we're going to get more chokes for everybody next year.
Yeah. Chokes and bandpass filters. We could probably have done a few more bandpass filters.
Yep.
But the other thing that I said is that we were running 2 FT891s and an FT897.
Yep.
None of those are great filtering radios.
Not the best.
They got decent receive. In fact, the 897 and 891 have got a pretty similar receiver in them. The 891's got more DSP, but it ain't much different. And we all agreed that if we had our FTDX 3000s out there with the roofing filters and everything, that's a game changer in itself.
Yes.
Right. That's like shooting fish in a barrel. But no one wanted to bring their big radios out for the weekend. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, it is. You got to unplug everything. I hate doing that.
Yeah, then you're going to forget a cable.
Yes.
So. But things about, but still, we had over 600 contacts for field day, didn't we? 600.
Yeah, it's 650. So I plugged our score into 3830 scores.
Okay.
To see how we kind of compared with other people, and we were 3 indoor. So I'm just going to go down here to
the 3 indoor low power. I think you passed.
Low power. I thought that everybody is either low power or QRP.
Yeah, you got to go back.
Did I?
Yeah, you passed.
Oh, there it is. Okay. Here it goes. 3 indoor low power.
So we're like number 4?
We're number 4. 11,500
submitted on that 3830 website.
Yeah. So we had 115 CW, 531 phone, 4 digital, 15 multipliers for 11,535 points.
Yeah. Not bad.
Not bad. Yeah, we're not setting the place on fire, but
right. We're not operating all night.
No.
We're having a good time. And I'm okay with that.
Yep.
Right. So
same here.
Now, when you guys do Minnesota QSO Party, you guys are way too intense for me.
So we plugged that one in. Now this Minnesota QSO Party was a different animal propagation wise. So what we did, what we've done, this is like the fourth time Dave and I have done the Minnesota QSO Party. And what we've done for previous years is we've been like a mobile or a rover station, and we would go, we'd pick a route, several counties, and in those counties we would stop at a parks on the air entity, and set up for like an hour, and then just rack in the contacts, and then we would move to the next county, the next park, etc. And that worked well. Last year in the rover category, we did 3 counties, 3 parks, and we won first place rover. So I don't know, you can't see it because my screen is truncated. But so this year, the problem with doing that is that when you're mobile or roving, you can only have one transmitter operating. And now we've got 2 people, so the driver is committed to driving, or one of our operators has to be offline when we're parked, which is kind of a bummer because you want to get on the air and stuff like that. So we decided, right, we're going to do 1 county, 1 park, multi-transmitter operation. So we drove to a boat landing down in the Upper Mississippi Wildlife Refuge on the Mississippi River, outside of, not too far, a little bit south of Wabasha, Minnesota, and set up there. It was a nice day. Band conditions were probably slightly worse than what they were at Winter Field Day, but
there was a little bit of a solar storm.
There was a little bit of a solar storm, and it was challenging. It was really challenging, but we managed multi-op, low power. We were K0M, and we came away with, here we go, 161 CW QSOs, 799 phone QSOs, 96 multipliers. Each state, each province, each county in Minnesota is a multiplier for a score of 184,128. So
that's pretty incredible.
That's 2 operators running for 10 hours.
Right. With a little bit of a break in there.
Yep. We took, according to the logging program, we had about a half-hour break during, for lunch and stuff like that. Otherwise, individually, we would take 10 minutes here or there, but the other person was operating, so the station was always on the air for the entire contest, except for about that half hour. We got about, when we did, so this is a combined score of 960 contacts. I wanted to get 1,000 contacts. I wanted to have 1,000 contacts in that park. We did not quite get there. Mostly because I could not sustain a rate of 100 QSOs an hour for the first 4 hours of the contest. Just because
of the contest, that's where you were at.
Yeah.
But
and that's because of the propagation. How do we compare to other people? Well, if we scroll down, and you look here where the big guns are, single operator, mixed, low power. These are the guys that really do the show. 186, 117, 112. They were feeling it too. This guy N0 HJZ should have gotten well over 200,000 points if it was good propagation. So.
Yeah, that's crazy. Crazy.
Yeah. So it was good. We had a fun time out there. The weather was decent. It was a little breezy, but it was warm. It was about 30-ish degrees. So, we weren't freezing our butts off, which is nice. I know Sean there. He worked the QSO Party. So I thought he was in the QSO Party, but he was at a couple POTUS on islands in Minnesota last week. So. And I know Don was in here earlier. I know we worked him. which was fun. We got a lot of our in-state contacts came from the Twin Cities because, well, that's where all of the people are.
Right, and you're almost working up ground way from where you guys are at.
Yeah, well, 40 meters. 40 meters. So, Joseph says, so you can either operate stationary or mobile in a vehicle. Sure. Yeah, you can. If the contest rules say, say you have to be in a single spot, for the duration of the contest, park your vehicle in that spot and operate from your vehicle for the duration of the contest. You're a fixed location, so you enter the fixed location category.
Right. So I think what David calculated is that when he looked at the past year scores, you were moving from county to county. You get that multiplier, while you're only getting 10%, 15% of the same stations were getting multiple counties off you.
Yeah.
So that hour that you were down because you had to move, you were going to make more contacts in that hour just staying stationary than you would getting those same contacts multiple times with the multipliers.
Exactly. We every time when you're mobile in a QSO party, every time you move to a new county, you're fair game again because you're in a new county, so you can work those same people over and over again. And we found that when Dave analyzed the logs, that was only accounted for about 70 some people. 10% of our contacts were that churn from county to county. So.
So I guess here's an idea that popped in my head is that you guys put a lot of effort into good antennas, getting up in the air when you were working mobile in the mobile category. Would it be advantageous for a mobile operator next year, single op mobile, which was where you were at previously, not this year, is that if you had a mobile station installed in the vehicle for one specific band, let's say you're set up for 10 meters mobile in the vehicle. Okay. So while one person is driving, the other person is operating on 10 meters. So you always have that flow of contacts coming in. You can't make 100 contacts an hour on 10 meters normally. But you could have made up some difference of what those losses were.
Yeah.
And then when you park, the other person sets up the next antenna, then you go back to 20 or 40, wherever, and continue on.
And that's really what we did in previous years. So when we were ready to transition to another park, we'd take down the big antenna, like we were running a vertical or an end-fed or something like that, and we'd slap a ham stick on the back of the truck. So while Dave was driving, I was calling CQ, 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 CQ. But because of just, because of the fact that you're in motion, and you're just not getting the same number of contacts if you were stationary and spotting yourself over and over again and getting that and getting that whole kind of rate going. So
your rate was slipping so much even when you were calling mobile that this made up for it.
Yes, exactly. Because we were on the air when we were moving. We didn't waste any time. I still call CQ while I'm, he's going down the highway and I'm banging back and forth, trying to make contacts. But your whip is doing this and your picket fencing and all that and fading, and you get all of this noise in your headphones from the because you got the noise blanker turned up and stuff. But that's part of the fun of mobile operation, I guess. So
Dave decided what you're going to do next year.
I don't know what we're going to do next year. We might do the same thing for Minnesota. We'll see how. I guess when the official results come out and we see how we compare with everybody else, that might that might kind of direct our strategy for next year, or we might try something different. Who knows? We might get 2 feet of snow in February and we can't get into our boat landing. I don't know what
Right.
Then we got to decide what we're going to do. So
we'll figure it out.
Yeah, as we get. But yeah, if it looks like if this was something that works, and we'll do it again.
Right.
We got some other ideas, to actually, I should have recorded us talking Sunday morning when we were going through our logs and analyzing, because one of the things we found, one of the nice things with a lot of these QSO parties is you can spot yourself, and you can use spotting pages to assist finding contacts. So, we had that little, I bought that travel router that we were using at Winter Field Day so we could network all our computers. I set the same thing up in the truck. So
that was really a game changer with the N1MM. That
yep.
Totally different.
Yeah. So we networked. So Dave and I, even though we were sitting next to each other, our laptops were networked. And then he had his jetpack on. So then that was feeding us internet the whole time. So I think we're thinking, well, maybe we'll set a third laptop up on the dashboard so we can watch the spotting pages and watch in real time, so we know where the action is, and help guide.
Traveler or something, you could really do that.
Yeah. So who knows? It's we're gonna try to use all of the tools and techniques that these big guns at their home stations do, except we're gonna pack it all into a pickup truck and sit at a park somewhere.
You almost need a third guy for tech support.
We do. We might. We're talking about roadies. So.
Oh God, roadies. Well, if you have roadies, then you got to have groupies.
Roadies and groupies.
That ain't Hamsexy. I don't know what it is.
The food crew and stuff.
Oh my God, yeah. What do they call that on a production site? I don't know. You had a term for it. I forget what it's called.
On a construction site?
No, production.
Oh, production site.
Yeah.
Like the grip, not the grips. Craft services. Craft services.
Yeah.
Craft services. Yeah.
some of the wet your whistle. Some of the bring you a beer at noon, and
yeah.
There you go. Someone to take care of your camper.
Oh, Matthew wants to know the mobile router. Let me see if I can find it here quick. I got that on Amazon. So, be 2 seconds. I'm going to pull up another screen. And oops. Okay, here we go. There it is. There's the link, and it's the the GLA 1300 Pocket VPN travel router. So hopefully, yeah, check it out. That worked really well because it let us set up this ad hoc network. It works as a Wi-Fi repeater, so we could connect to a hotspot or and then funnel everybody internet, and it worked.
And N1MM was so simple to set up for networking. Like we've never had it so easy.
Absolutely.
Years, and it's been difficult. I mean, God, and Travis 1 year for field, they had a Cantenna and a Raspberry Pi, right? It was just, this was so simple.
So simple. It's, yeah. And if you had the neat thing about networking with N1MM is that if you've got N1MM running on the computers and you turn the networking mode on, it finds all of the other computers running N1MM on the network, and bam, you're there. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
Flatline,
Yeah,
that was 12 volts. Yeah, I think
it's USB powered. So we just hooked it up to a big USB battery pack and ran it that way. So
right.
5.5 volt USB-C power connection on it.
Perfect.
So perfect. We could do that. Yeah, we might do that. Who knows? We could probably do it at the camp out next fall or something. Although cell coverage is terrible in that park. I don't know what's going to happen.
Right. Well, we'll figure it out.
Yep. Exactly. All right. We got a couple questions here. We're going to kind of roll through here. Got a couple good ones. Brent was asking, random question. You still aware of MFJ selling or making products again? I know they closed in Mississippi. I haven't heard anything. My impression is when they closed last fall that they were going to stop manufacturing products. So that would be like their Mighty Fine junk, the tuners, the switches, the power things, the other gizmos. But the stuff it sounded like the stuff they imported and threw their name on they were still going to sell. So.
Right. I think they have enough inventory that they will be selling for a while yet, but they're not producing anything new.
Yeah. I know it's been a while. Last September when I was at Ham Radio Outlet in Milwaukee, there was still a big shelf full of MFJ tuners. So, if you want,
get them while they last. They're not going to get them for long.
That's what I said last. I don't know how many months ago I said this, but if you can find a 949E, grab it because that Versatuner is just a really good thing to have. A good solid manual tuner. Let's see. This is a good one. So Chris is asking, did my first POTA this last weekend and got 11 contacts. Unfortunately, using paper logging, a few blew away, but managed to contact most of my QSOs via email. Have you ever had a ham accident? Losing contacts.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've really lost a significant number of contacts or things like that. I've knock on wood. I've been fingers crossed, knock on wood. I've been pretty lucky in that regard. I know that's something that's I know what other people have had that issue. I've had logbooks that logging. I've paper logged and I've had logging sheets that have been soiled, with drinks and stuff like that. But I've been able to recover most everything.
Right. I've heard stories of when hammers first came out, hammers would drop calls.
Yes.
I don't think that's a problem anymore with hammers.
He rebuilt the database, so I think the lost log bug is not much of a thing with hammers anymore. I almost had that happen. It got hammers was started to work really flaky on me, and I said as a precaution, I hit the export to ADI to get a backup copy out of the hammers database. And fortunately, that hadn't been I didn't lose my log because I've done that. Log recovery was one of the things you can try, other than making a backup copy like recording your QSOs, is that every time a person is spotted on the Parks on the Air site, a copy of that spot gets republished on the Parks on the Air discourse server. It used to go to their Slack page, but POTA has transitioned off of Slack, and now they've got a discourse channel. and Discord channel. I'm not a Discord. I'll just say this: I'm not a big Discord user. I'm not so. I was, but so I've done this where I thought that I munged up a person's call sign or I didn't quite get it copied correctly. I've gone through on Discord and searched for all of my spots, and you can use that data, all of those, because a lot of times when a person works you, they'll respot you, and so you've got a copy of that spot there. You can reconstruct a good percentage of your log that way.
Right, especially with the park to park, because they're using the same similar logging software. So
yep. So that's one way to save yourself if you run into one of those POTA accidents. And I've had other disasters hit me, like antennas breaking, coax
forgetting
blowing out,
and the cable.
Yeah.
Battery
Connectors.
just keeping out.
Yep. And the best way to is to mitigate those circumstances. Have some spare coax, make sure your batteries are charged or have a second battery with you, or spare fuses and things like that. We blew up last year at the Wisconsin QSO Party. Dave and I melted a Anderson power pole connector. So I had a spare. We were able to get back on the air. So
I keep a couple of Wagos in the Go kit. Wagos, they're probably not really rated for 25 amps DC, but they'll get you through an activation.
They get you on the air. That's the important part. Yeah.
So, otherwise, wire nuts. I've used wire nuts a few times in a pinch. One thing we was talking about our everyday carry right here. Leatherman.
Yep.
You can fix a lot of issues with a Leatherman, especially with a lid right next to you. Right?
There you go.
So, you ever see the video of like these rebels, and it's in Africa. They have two AK-47s and one truck stopped working and need to jump it. So they take two AK-47s, positive, negative to negative, and they hold them together to jump the trucks. Oh, this is going to turn out poorly.
Those Kalashnikovs, the world's most reliable rifle.
Oh my Lord.
They were designed. The designer knew that Soviet manufacturing tolerances were so sloppy that he put enough of that into the design so that no matter how bad they were manufactured, they would still operate.
Right. Yeah. Much like some of our POTA activations.
So much like that.
We're so sloppy, it just still works.
Oh, I tell you. Oh man. Hey, I got a question. We got a couple things we got to talk about before we get to Hamsexy, and we're starting to run light on time. But so Cliff asked a couple weeks ago. We've been talking a lot about propagation, specifically the gray line.
Mm-hmm.
I think in a couple videos it's come up. We were on my when I was doing 10-meter DX a couple weeks ago when we were traveling around central Wisconsin. We wanted to. We were hoping to work the gray line. So he was asking. This was his question was more specifically related to 10 meters. But so what time do you consider the best time AM for DX on 10 meters? I know it depends on conditions, but would it be correct to assume sunrise?
Usually, yeah.
Usually. And that kind of opens up to talking a bit about the gray line and what the gray line is. I mean, if we're thinking sun, in the winter months for great DX with the on the 10-meter band, sunrise is going to be a good time to do that because we can operate on the gray line, which is that transition point, that twilight point between day and night, where part of the ionosphere is energized, part of it is not, and that kind of interplay really kind of helps propagation move, to other areas. And it's not just the upper bands. All bands can really benefit from the gray line. So what exactly is the gray line? Well, let's see if we can pull it up here. And I got a map. And unfortunately, it's kind of hard to see because it is dark for us here in the United States, but it's light over here in Asia. So if this dude in Anchorage wanted to work the subcontinent, they could get on 10 meters, and because we're in that transition point from day and night, the band conditions tend to be very, very good in in these points. So he might have a very reliable chance of working working India or even the Middle East. For that matter.
Twilight in the morning or twilight at night. That's when I worked Japan on 10 meters.
Yep.
It's a real distinct. It was like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I was just spinning around 10 meters, and I could hear a JA call real faint. I waited about 20 minutes, started working in.
Yep.
And I kid you not, I worked him on the first call.
There you go.
100 watts go off, it'll wire off the back of the house.
Yes.
So you got to listen a little bit, and it's a little bit depends on how good the band is that day. But you'd be surprised what you can do on 10 meters, especially if you're running like a 25 watt mobile 10 meter radio.
Yep.
Even with just a tech license, right? You can do pretty incredible things.
Right now with 10 meters, you can. I've got this map behind me. If I move out of the way, during the day, that's the geochron behind me, and I can see the sunrise, sunset, but also I can see the DX spots. And I've noticed during the winter months, December, January, in that for me, 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, 7, 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, we were getting about sunrise, but Central Europe was getting, it was almost sunset for them. And there was just this big activity, 10-meter activity between the two continents, and just following the gray line, that path, the transition points between sunrise and sunset. So in the summer months, it can be a little, because daylight, that transition gets earlier and earlier in the day. You gotta wake up earlier for it. But still, you still can get those benefits even on the lower bands. 40-meter gray line can be pretty amazing. But watching, these types of maps where you can see the spot, the part, what part of the globe is in daylight and what part is in, is in morning and which part is in evening. You can kind of plan your maybe DX activity to take advantage of that unique type of propagation.
Right. Yeah. Get some DX in before dinner time, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly. So we got a couple questions here. Of course, Sean says, gray line, when a white line and a black line love each other very much.
Good Lord.
Yeah. Frank asks, working the gray line, does the maximum usable frequency matter where it's at? Yes, it can. It very well can, because that's gonna affect, your propagation also. So
Hmm.
if we're at the top of the solar cycle, if the MUF is relatively high up into the 10-meter band, then we're going to see a higher likelihood of that band performing, gray line type activities.
Hmm.
Uh, that's why I mentioned the 40-meter band, especially in the summer months, because we might see the MUF drop to a lower number, maybe only 10 megahertz is working. We're at the bottom of the solar cycle. Gray line but we can watch the gray line still and take advantage of the propagation that the gray line gives us on those
Right.
lower bands. So yeah, to that extent, you're going to want to pay attention to the other factors of propagation, like maximal usable frequency and solar activity and things like that.
Mhm.
All right. Okay. Then a Flatlander asks, well, of course, how long will we be at the peak of the solar cycle?
Another year or so.
We're kind of at the crest right now.
Yeah.
So it's the one was the basement. About we were starting to crank up
21,
early early
22.
early 2021. So
Yeah.
early 2021, we started the uphill climb, and we're just about at the peak, or at the peak this winter. I would like to believe. There's the sun has been very active the last several months,
Yeah.
and what people are looking for is, I think it's you look at the average A numbers, and I think if the daily A, or if the daily A is lower than the average A over a time period of like a 30-day or a 60-day period, that's usually a signal that the we're starting to take that downward trend, and those are the things people are looking for.
Mhm.
Now the good news is, even though we're cresting, that going downhill is going to be a slower ride than
Mhm.
going uphill. So whereas it took us about 4 years to get to the top, it'll probably take about 5 years to get to the bottom. So what is it's in
Then
a
I'll take another 4 years to get back up.
yeah, yeah, and
That
then
seems
you're
like
about
that last low was just so long.
it's an 11-year cycle.
Yeah.
So about 4.5 years to get up, maybe 5 years to get down, and then you're down in the pits for about a year or so. So it's
Yeah.
um
It just felt it was like months without a sunspot. Like,
uh,
come on.
that is the yeah. So this is the third solar cycle I've run through as a ham, and this
Yeah.
is the
You're getting old.
I'm getting old. Yeah, yeah. And this is a good one. It's been fairly productive.
Yeah.
A very active
But I
cycle.
think we're
So
both also in a place in our hobby where we're very proficient in what we do.
I think we've got the ability to appreciate it more, and kind of, the experience. You kind of, yeah, this is I get it now. This is what we should be looking for, and this is what we
Right.
should be doing. And it's not something you get right away. It's like you have to live through one or two of them to really
Mhm.
kind of get
We'll
to,
take
to,
full advantage of it. Yeah.
to take full advantage of it. Absolutely. So, all right. You know what, Joe? We've been uh, you've been off of work for a little bit, and
3 days.
three
Three
days.
days.
3 days.
Okay. I'm not unemployed, guys. Just
And
a week.
no, yeah, and I just and actually, to that end, Java Joe says, "Good time to learn CW." And so we've been winter
Rain
project
tonight.
time. Winter project time. You ask me, so what's a good way to practice Morse code?
Yeah.
And I think,
yeah. So it's both of us
mm-hmm,
for a long time have wanted to get into CW. And I think we're like, and as I said, we're at a point in our ham radio lifestyle.
lifestyle.
Lifestyle
It is a lifestyle thing.
that it's time to try something different. We've done plenty of sideband, we've done plenty of digital, but time to maybe start learning how to pound brass, right?
Yeah.
So this week I signed up for the Long Island CW Club. They have a great page for practicing. And so this is how it works. You do have to get a membership. That's nominal fee. If you're paying $25 for your
$25 a year,
it's 30 for the Long Island Club. But the amount of stuff they have infrastructure wise on the web, holy crap!
Yeah,
they have it all, and they have classes online with Zoom from like 6 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock at night.
Yes.
Okay. For beginners, they have the beginners carousel 1 and 2. They just start with 3 words a night. Okay. And you can drop in at any time. So if you can't make the Monday BC one, drop in on the Thursday one. They'll be working on the same 3 letters.
Yep.
They need to do the same 3 letters all week.
It's progressive. It's
18 letters,
Yeah.
And they're really, really, really good. If you look at this website they have for practice, it's amazing. You can, just sit for 10 minutes and think around with it. Set a goal for 10 to 15 minutes a day. You don't have to do 2 or 3 hours, just 10 or 15 minutes. Both copying and sending.
Yep.
And see where you're at in 6 weeks. Make one meeting or one hour Zoom session a week.
Yep.
If you got a little extra time, they actually have sending buddies where you and a buddy can meet up on a good place to meet up is 40 meters, like 7114, 7115. That's kind of the slow CW area. And most people can get on 40 meters pretty easily at night, especially because you got a little time and work a little CW. Find a buddy, pick a frequency, and just send sloppy code for a while. See what happens.
Code. Yeah, there you go. There's no shame in it.
Right.
And I think the neat thing about the Long Island CW Club is all of the classes are run by real people.
Yeah.
And so you get that it's the real feeling of code. It's they're sending real code, you're copying real code. You hook your key up to the side tone on your rig so you can send real code back, and
and you're on the same playing field with everyone, especially that beginners carousel 1.
Yeah,
everyone sucks, so it doesn't matter. You ain't gonna impress anyone. And you ain't gonna shame yourself. Just get in there and send some code.
Yeah, it's like
12 words a minute, Farnsworth style. So, but that's fine.
Yeah,
that's all you really need to do is learn it by 12 words a minute, and then after a year, maybe you're up to 15.
Yeah, it's like Planet Fitness. It's a no judgment zone. So,
well, I don't know about that. On Monday we do CW. Have you seen that guy on YouTube? Monday we do arms. I ain't gonna go into the rest of it because it's not appropriate. But
they got other stuff too. It's not all CW. They've got a lot of great general forums and speakers that'll talk about a wide variety of stuff and get-togethers. So, it's not always pound and brass. You can learn about just about anything. Radio-related antennas and rigs and modes and operation. And a couple of years ago, I even gave a presentation on POTA. So it's they're always it's good. It's a good place to be. I joined a couple years ago, and winter projects always get set aside, unfortunately. So now, Joe, we're gonna attempt to keep each other accountable. So
right. I'm gonna hold the feet to the fire now, Michael.
Yeah.
Well, and you got that little microbit transmitter now.
Yep.
You want to get out going on that, and I'm all set up here. So
Yep.
let's just do it.
Let's
see.
do
And
it.
then
Let's
this
do
summer we're gonna have an all CW activation and see how it goes.
There we go. We go. So let's see. Yeah, we got so Don is going to see you at sending class 9 a.m. tomorrow. So.
No, I got to work in the morning.
Oh, you're growing it. That's right.
Yeah, I got a couple little things I got to go in for in the morning. So, well, not tomorrow, but Saturday we're supposed to get 6 inches of snow, so it might be a good day to sit in pounds of brass then.
There we go. We got snow coming this weekend, so I got to get out and do a park Friday afternoon. It's been a while since I've just done and not gone crazy making contacts like crazy. So Don, March 1st, KJ6ER, the POTA Performer guy, is going to be on the Portable Ops Forum. So
okay.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff. A lot of good stuff. And Mark says, CW is my goal after I pass the extra exam on Saturday. So
well, you better be ready for it. Like start practicing now.
Get the exam under your belt, and then you can
Once you get the extra, then the learning really begins. So.
I had to take the 5-word-a-minute test to get my novice. So, and then my technician. So I was a Tech Plus and then a general shortly after that. But so WH2US, learn the CW in the military, 5 character groups, went to take the test for Ham, and it was words. Really, that threw me.
What does this mean?
What does this mean? It's because you're not sending random secret codes, the missile instructions.
Right. It wasn't the activation code for the nukes.
Yeah. CW for the bottom of the solar cycle.
Oh, Lord.
Tech Plus at 20 words a minute. That's great.
Wow. Overachiever.
All right,
Michael. I got a dog scratching at the door real quick.
Okay.
Give me 2 minutes if you want to take that HD question for POTA.
Yeah.
We'll be right back. I gotta make sure. I think I said it last time. We got another dog, and she's a handful.
Okay. Well, we'll let you.
I'm gonna a lot of things. I'll be right back.
All right, we'll let you do that. Then we'll finish up here with a couple questions and Hamsexy. So while Joe is taking his dog out, I'm just gonna go solo here, and we got a couple questions I wanted to kind of grab here. See if I can find them. Let's see. Yep, we did that one. So Garen asks, I recently saw a YouTube video from Waters and Stanton where he talked about the G4ZU antenna. What effect do you think ferrite beads would have on an off-center fed dipole? Definitely, I would. The ferrites choking your feed line is definitely not going to hurt on an off-center fed dipole. A lot of times, when we do a conventional dipole antenna, center fed, you'll use a one. You can do it direct from your coax, or you can use a 1-to-1 balun, and the 1-to-1 balun helps as a choke. For an off-center fed dipole, you're going to have a 4-to-1. You move the feed point over about 2/3 of the way. So 2/3 of the half wave is here, and 2/3 is over here, or 1/3 is over here, and then there's a 4-to-1 transformer at the feed point. Adding a choke to that will certainly help keep the common mode currents off, and it would be beneficial. So a lot of times, except for very rare instances, the common mode chokes usually help, and they very seldom hurt the performance of your antenna system.
So the one thing you want to have a common mode choke on on an antenna that uses ladder line, like a D5RV. The common mode choke helps because the ladder line, while it's a transmission line, it's also part of the antenna.
Yes.
And its length is dependent on that. So having a common mode choke at where the coax ends and this ladder line begins is kind of a big deal, right? But not so much on like an off-center fed dipole.
Yeah.
Because your ground or the other half of the circuit is the other half of the dipole.
So that it's less of an issue, but still, it's not gonna hurt the antenna system to add one if you wish.
Right.
So, all right, we got a really fun question here. Ham radio confessional. I became a ham at 50. So welcome to the 50 plus club.
Hey, we use ham radio confessional every time we go out on a trip together.
Last
time have a copyright infringement suit here, buddy.
Oh. I felt like the youngest guy in the room. What do you think it will take to make the hobby a young person's game, or do you think we keep recycling new 50-year-olds? Now, okay, this is a bit of a hot take because I know a lot of people harp on it's how do we get youth involved? How do we get youth involved? How do we get youth involved? And I think we are looking at it wrong, and we need to target a slightly older demographic in how do I get that 30-year-old involved? Because that, I think, is the sweet spot. It's great. It's great to get the kids, the junior high, the high school kid in scouts or something like that, or get their license and things, and maybe they'll carry it with them, maybe they won't. There's plenty of amateur radio clubs on college campuses, especially in the sciences and engineerings, but I think when you get to a certain point in your late 20s up until about age 30, you're looking to settle down, you're looking for a hobby, you're looking for something to do, because your lifestyle is just kind of shifting from the 20s and into the 30s. And that is where I think we're really ripe into growing ham radio, amateur radio, is getting those 30-year-olds, because it's one of those life things that they will face it. Somebody who's in their 30s is more likely to carry on ham radio than an 18-year-old kid that goes off to school and goes in a different direction.
Right. No, I agree with you 120%, Michael. So I'm 45 years old, right? I started this when I was 34. I was 34 when I got licensed. It's taken me 10 years to get to the point where I'm at right now, where I think I'm proficient at it, and I'm really having fun. I will say the first 5-6 years, I did not have a lot of money to put into the hobby, nor a lot of spare time. I'm now at a point in my life where I have my radio fun now. That's plus fun, right, guys?
You kind of learn those things as you get older on how to
you budget.
Budget.
But now that money is not. That money ain't coming from house repairs. That ain't car repairs. That ain't a payment on a house.
It ain't kids. Yeah.
It ain't kids. Right. I'm down to one 15-year-old left in the house. Okay. I don't have to, be daddy daycare anymore either.
Yep.
So this is really where I enjoy it. How many of the guys that are 50 plus got licensed when they're 18, let it lapse, and then they just got relicensed? Someone just came on here and just said that on the chat not too long ago. Dave is a good example. He said he let his novice lapse, and then he went back and got it.
Yeah.
It's hard when you're a mid-20 person. You're out of college. You're trying to find your spot in life. Right. And a lot of us go out. We have a good time. We have a great time, guys. Yeah. Super duper time.
And that's what you do in your 20s.
You're chasing the ladies. You're finding out. You're learning more about yourself. You're making stupid mistakes, right?
Yep.
Yeah, made them.
Or you're settling
I've been
down
with
and
them.
you're starting to have kids, and
Yeah,
you've got those responsibilities, in your 20s. By the time you get into your 30s, that time is starting to free up, where you
yeah,
get a little bit higher amount of personal time. And
right.
as somebody says, yeah, you start to have real disposable
Yeah,
income.
that's it. But also look at it this way: all the clubs. It used to be like once you got married and you got a job in a town,
Mhm.
you had to go join a club,
Yeah,
right? You had to join the Lions or the
Lions,
Masons
the
or
Masons, the Elks, the Kiwanis, the Rotary, the yeah.
and these kids don't do that anymore.
No, they don't.
They don't. The Elks, the Masons, the Kiwanis they're all hurting.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, so that's the thing we also got to remember is that they're all on YouTube. They're all on social media.
Hmm.
Uh, how do we get them from there? Um, it's a very difficult thing, and I think the people that are making it's not just the ARRL, but I'm just going to use the ARRL as an example.
Yeah. Hmm.
People who are making the decisions at the higher places where they have the funds that are going into these programs are aiming at the children. And I agree with Michael. I don't think they should be spending their money there.
Yeah.
They can put the money there and then
To a
STEM and whatnot.
to a
But
to a, cer- to a certain to a certain
we have,
extent. Yeah.
yeah, we have this idea that we have to use the frequencies that we are given these privileges on for the greater good. And we have this high mighty idea, emergency communications, STEM, and all this other stuff. At the end of the day, it's just a hobby.
Hmm.
Okay, it's just a hobby. You can package it up however you want it, but it's a hobby. And some of the stuff you throw that at a 14-year-old kid, it goes
Yeah. Oh yeah.
like that's an old man sport. That's an old man game. So I think aiming to the 35-year-old person is a great idea.
Yeah. Absolutely. And to the confessional's point, um, I feel like the youngest guy in the room. When I went to my first club meeting, I was the youngest guy in the room, and I was 30 years old. And I get that. I get that. I get that. It can feel slightly intimidating. But then I was the kind of person, I wasn't going to be intimidated by an old person. So
Right. And the
yeah.
old guys really ain't that intimidating.
No, they're not. They're not. Once you get to,
always one or two, but they're
once you
just
get to know them, it's just like anything else. Once you get to know the person, start to listen to them, because you know they've forgotten more than you'll ever know, and uh, you learn
we're getting
you
to
learn
we're
learn a
getting to
lot
the
from
point,
them.
Michael. We're gonna start forgetting things.
I'm hoping to record all of my knowledge on these, so when I get
Right.
when I'm all demented, I'll just watch my old videos or something like that.
Get the neural implant.
Yeah,
I got one
implant.
too.
Johnny Mnemonic.
Yeah.
Uh, Lowering the barrier entry for the tech license would help. Learn by doing and have a desire for more knowledge. I think not so much lowering the barrier for the tech license. I think what needs to be done is expanding technician privileges into the HF bands. Techs can do the old novice CW portions, but I think we need to give them more slivers of phone, more slivers of data on 20 and 40 meters, um, just for those reasons. So, uh,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you don't need to know as much about an HF radio now than you did 40 years ago.
no, you don't.
Right. It's all pretty much plug and play.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Um, yeah, I'm kind of either way of that. I think having a novice license, go back to the old novice and give them the UHF BHF privileges, but there's no one on the repeaters anymore,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like why you give them a license to get on with an HT on a repeater and it's a ghost town.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah,
What are you going to do with that? That's
yeah,
why more there's so much activity on HF these days. Some more of that. If they've, you're limited to 10 meters. Well, in a few years, 10 meters is going to be dead.
Right.
So, if they had a little bit of 40 meter phone, wouldn't that be awesome? Then they can talk regionally. And as Dave always said, when he first got his novice license, I had my crystal set to my novice frequency, and
one frequency,
you would pound all day. Maybe we would make a contact, maybe we wouldn't.
Right. Yeah, it was. It's a different ball game now. No, absolutely. So
yeah,
I know what you're saying on that one, but there's a lot to it. None of us are going to figure it out in one single move.
Yep. And Eric says, went to a club meeting at 15 in the mid 90s, extremely intimidated, and stayed away until I stumbled on it 4 years ago. So, and I think that's part of the problem. It's age. I mean, if you were, I don't know how old you are, Eric, but if you went to a club meeting when you were 30 and unlicensed, would you feel the same level of intimidation as you did when you were 15? So.
Yeah, I mean, Eric's about the same age that I am, and same thing. The guys would have intimidated the hell out of me. Absolutely.
Yep. So, that's my TED talk for tonight. I know it's an unpopular opinion, but it's a hill I'm going to die on.
Yep. Well, speaking about let's get done with the TED talks now. I think it's time. What everyone really comes for here, Michael.
Oh, I know what you're looking for. A little bit of
wow. Yeah.
Promise.
Oh yeah. It's Valentine's Day, baby. I'll work you with my 2-meter J pole.
Oh.
Yeah. I'll give you both side bangs.
We're going to pull up.
Hamsexy time, baby.
It's Hamsexy time. We haven't done this in a long time.
No, it's been a while. It's been a while. It's been hard. So
yeah, and I found some great. Like I said, our crack team has scoured the internet.
Yeah,
with a brass scrubby, and
these are the same guys that used to do the top 10 list for Letterman. After they got laid off a while back, with the home office in Walla Walla, Washington.
Yeah, Walla Walla, Washington.
Yeah. All right, lay it on me. What do you got?
All right, what do we got? Oh, okay. This is.
Oh wow.
This is a classic.
Patrol.
This is a classic.
Oh my God.
He's a ghost hunter.
Make black, make it like radar. Does it absorb radar? I don't know.
Joe, that is not just black. That is rattle can black.
Oh yeah, that is. Wow.
Who you gonna call?
I mean, obviously, this guy doesn't have a girlfriend.
No.
I mean,
not something.
He was a butthead, couldn't do something like that. God.
This was stuck in the CD player of the Ghostmobile.
Oh wow! Relating songs of FDA mode. Oh my God! The Russian ice cream machine.
When I have a hard time sleeping at night, I will put this CD in. Just on low.
Is this really a thing?
If maybe it should be. FT8 and Whale Song,
Yeah, I can see someone selling cassettes of this at a ham fest.
It's going to be mark my words, this is going to be the next big thing at Hamvention.
Oh, God.
You're going to see it in the booth next to the 10-meter kickers.
Probably get a package deal.
Yeah.
A bag of grommets to go with it.
Since this is the month of love.
Okay.
we've got a little ham radio.
Whoa there, fella. Put that 6-shooter away. Is she trying to copy him or what's going on there?
Well, I don't know. It's Sun City, Arizona. So
Wow.
it's where else can you get on the air with your 6-shooter and
Has he got
run
spurs too, or what's going on there? He's got cowboy boots for sure.
Yeah, those are loafers, I think. But I love that hat.
Wow. Save some YLs for the rest of us there, man.
Yeah. I wish my wife would look at me the same way that she's looking at him, though.
Oh, she looks at you a certain way. It's not.
Yeah, I know.
Is that an Apache receiver? I'm trying to figure out what that is there.
It's the Model 10.
Model 10, okay.
All right. And I found this for sale.
Oh. Obviously modded for Chicken Band.
No low ballers. I know what I got.
Yeah, I know what you got there too. That's a unique fixer-upper.
Oh.
I don't even think she's a parts unit, my friend.
Oh, burner downer.
That is woof.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is what happens when you leave your rig on 7200 too long.
Hey, I'm the one making the jokes here, Michael. Okay. I think this is someone who was transmitting on 7200. The disease got into it, like you on eBay.
Yeah.
$100 list on eBay.
Oh, wait, doesn't know if it works or not.
Yeah.
No, works the last time I plugged it in.
Yeah. Works when put away. Powers up. Have no way of testing.
Yeah, but no way of testing. Non-smoking house.
You can't tell me that thing wasn't smoking when it was last turned on.
Someone let the smoke out.
Oh Lord, yeah, part swapper special.
Oh. And then we got the last one. You know, I kind of miss QST, but I've swapped over to a subscription of QRS, and it's totally exceeded my expectations.
Yeah. I mean, who knew that how propagation worked on a flat Earth? Yeah. And then I guess I really have this question. Aries approved fashionable safety wear for the XYF.
Of course.
Because they need their high-vis vests too, I guess.
Yeah, pink high-vis. I'd wear pink high-vis.
Would you?
Wouldn't you?
I'm going to hold you to it this summer.
Hey, this issue's got field day hangover cures.
You get a hangover?
You get a hangover? You're not doing it right then.
Just gotta keep drinking till Tuesday. Oh, baby.
Yeah, 10 useful ways to pass time working FT8.
I don't know. You could do your taxes, I guess.
Yeah. Whatever you decide to watch while you're doing FT8, just make sure that the audio doesn't go through the through the channel.
Happen.
Yes,
What's
we
that
have
noise on FT8. Oh God, no.
DIY impedance treatments, are they safe? I'm sure you'll find the answer down on 3864 or something like that.
Oh God. Right about the colonoscopy net?
Yeah, the colonoscopy net.
You know, when I first looked at this for a second, I thought it was real. Wow. Thank God. The Icon IC 9700 VHF HUF light transceiver. Top 10 sideband
and
echo
code reverb units.
Oh.
Oh my lord.
The International Association for Amateur Radio Plunkers.
Yeah.
Nice. I like it. I like it. But anyway, don't worry, Michael. We'll get you a big video for pick vest with at least 3 or 4 ball things for the summer.
Of course. For field day this summer.
Oh yeah, Travis will get a matching one too. I'll get your names on them.
All right. Well, maybe we'll have to. Well, if we can come up with any other great Hamsexy items, we will share them next month. If you've got something that's
I think our crew is done. I'm gonna fire them all after this.
You're all fired.
Yep. Sorry, Michael. You're fired.
Oh. Well, with that, we're kind of getting towards the end here.
Thank God.
It's been a good show. We've had a lot to talk about, and some
indeed. Thanks for all the questions, guys. We
great
appreciate
questions. It. Yeah. It was a blast, and always love our monthly live streams.
Yes.
And so the next one's coming up Thursday, March 6th at 7:00 p.m. Just the funny thing about February is that whatever happens, here today, it'll happen in 28 days later in March. So,
unless it's a leap year.
Unless it's a leap year, then it's all messed up.
Yeah.
But that's not our problem this year.
Not this year. No.
So, all right. So, thanks a lot, everybody, for joining us, and hope to see you next month. Like I said, it's always fun. So, with that, I'm Michael, KB9VBR.
And I'm Joe, KD9CJX, 7-3.
Hey, 7-3. Have a great evening.